Hey you guys, for this video I'm going to show you how you can blend grow out so that clients can get a little bit more longevity between appointments. Here's my clients before. I forgot to take a picture in a video before we actually started, but here is her grow out. And then I want to apologize in this next clip for how much talking there is in the background. Okay, so my client is expecting and she's really early in her pregnancy and she's actually not wanting to say anything to anybody, so I'm not going to include any like face shots in her video or pictures. So she normally likes to be like almost solid blonde, like we do a full foil with a weave just for a little bit of dimension to break it up, but she's really feeling like her hair's starting to grow and she's not really wanting to have to like have as much upkeep. So we're gonna break her base a little bit with some baby lights and then go through with the shadow root to blend the tones from her previous grow out. And then we're still gonna really try to keep her brighter around the face and through her ends. I'm doing 3 foils on her hairline. I typically do 2 to 3, but I wanted to do 3 for sure because we're not going to go back any further than this. And I want to make sure that when she pulls her hair back that it kind of conceals all of her dark grow out. So that's why I'm doing 3 foils instead of 2. Please be very, very careful not to overlap in this area. This part of the hairline is usually the most fragile, so just be careful not to cause any breakage by overlapping. For the top of her money piece area, we're doing 3 foils back to back, but she has a little bit of a widow's peak, so I'm kind of doing more like a V-sectioning. That way I'll be able to make sure she has plenty of brightness all the way around her hairline. If her hair comes to a point and I just do like a teeny little foil in that one point area and then 2 back after that, that still leaves like not enough brightness around her face. It's still going to be pretty dark. And then the sides, like the side foils of her hairline, aren't going to connect to the money piece area, and I think it works better to do it kind of like in a V foil placement around the hairline when there's a widow's peak, or if their hair naturally kind of has a V hairline shape at the top. That way when they pull their hair back, they don't have like a dark piece like kind of at the temple area or a little bit above. I think this kind of helps keep it a nice even brightness all the way around the hairline. The last time that we did her hair, actually the last handful of times, we've only done a partial foil. So that's why she has quite a bit of grow out, like kind of right above her ears. And her hair naturally is very dark, so it's kind of hard to get her out of that like warm yellow kind of brassy stage. So right now we're just gonna go through, do some really fine baby lights. And even though we're going to blend her roots in, I still want to break her base a little bit. Not enough to where when we apply her shadow root that you're gonna really notice highlights, but I just want to kind of break up the heavy line of demarcation with some foils. And I think this is a really good way when somebody's trying to grow their hair out or to let it go a little bit longer in between appointments to not have to come back so soon, is to just go through, do a really partial foil, like even just where their hair is parted, and break up their roots a little bit. That way it doesn't look so dark and so heavy, and it will just be really translucent and soft looking when you tone it all together and do a shadow root. At least they won't feel so dark like at the top of their head. This is all that we did for her foils, just a few on the top to break it up and a few in the back. And this is going to be enough to just break up her base just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go tone my client's hair now. And she uses a purple shampoo, which can tend to build up on the hair, creating it to look pretty ashy. And however, it looks really light, but when we do bleach, and her roots end up lifting lighter than what her like mid to ends are. So I'm gonna have to formulate to tone her hair down a little bit to match her ends so that her roots aren't brighter where like the blonde is, like in the front of her face. And I prefer to tone for the brightest level first and then go back and do like the root shadow, because we're trying to keep as much brightness as possible, but sometimes when you tone for brighter, like brassy areas aren't gonna tone down. So what I like to do is tone first, see where the brightest is and what brassiness is left over, and then go through with your root shadow and apply that, and where the brassy tones are, then you can kind of swipe it through those areas to cool them down a little bit. So right now we're gonna mix for her brightest blonde formula. Okay, so recently I've seen in like Facebook hair forums about stylists kind of being mind blown about seeing people formulating gold into their blonde toners. And so I just kind of want to touch base on this a little bit. And I actually want to eventually do a little demo of a swatch with and without adding gold. So adding gold just kind of helps balance the tones. Have you ever toned hair and it grabs really gray or really violety? Adding that, just like a drop of rose gold, is going to help balance and prevent that from happening. Now that we've toned for her brightest blonde, we're going to go through and we are mixing up her root shadow formula. Okay, so applying her root shadow formula, you can see here that I'm being really cautious not to grab her bang area because we don't want to darken that up. So I'm trying to section that and pull that away from the rest of her hair. And I'm applying the root shadow like just a little bit beyond the line of demarcation because that's what we're trying to blend. Again, pulling that front hairline piece away from the rest of the hair so it won't get dark. So apply the root color and then just kind of comb it through the ends. That way it just drags down a little bit and it has a better blend versus just a line of root shadow and then like her brighter blonde. If you've seen my other videos, you know I like to kind of drag little pieces of dimension down through the ends with the root shadow color. That way it just kind of gives it different ribbons of dimension through the hair. Now that we're in the bang area, you can see that I'm really just tapping it at the roots. We want to soften it just a little bit, but make sure that we keep it really bright. So I'm just going to tap her hairline, and then I'm not at all going to drag it down or comb it in with the rest of her hair. You can see right here as I'm blow drying her hair, her roots where we applied the partial foil isn't really very bright, but you can see the difference from where her natural hair is and up at the top. See just how really soft and translucent that is? That's gonna blend her roots so much nicer. She's not gonna have a heavy grow out at all. Here's the end result. You can see the shadow root just really softly blends in with the blonde and her natural roots. I think this is such a great way to blend the hair if somebody's wanting to grow their hair out or to be able to maintain a little bit longer without having to come in. Doing just a partial foil of Baby Lights to break up the hair is a great way to give them just a little bit more longevity. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.